What's up, YouTube peeps and barbecue freaks? Thank you guys for joining me today. Today's video, we're going to do a rack of ribs and some pork belly. And I've done pork belly before, but it was pork belly burnt ends. This time, I'm cooking a whole slab of pork belly. We're gonna have it in a little sub roll from King's Hawaiian sub roll. I think the sweetness is gonna go great with this pork belly. And probably just top it with some barbecue sauce or something. But I'm also doing a little experiment. I have a rack on my Weber Kettle that gives me 2 layers of cooking. And I noticed that that top rack cooks a lot higher. And I'm not sure how off the top rack is compared to the normal grate on your Weber Kettle. But we're going to find out. I'm going to put a gauge on the top and on the bottom, and we're going to see the difference. Some people said it can be anywhere from 40 to 60 degree difference. I'm going to attempt to find out. Anyway, we're going to get this pork belly seasoned up. I'll show you what that looks like here in just a second. And then I'll show you the setup on the Weber Kettle once we get out there. Let's get started. All right, so I got the pork belly here. This is a whole slab. This was right just under 4.5 pounds pork belly. It's got that fat cap on there, which we're going to leave. But we are going to season that up. So actually what I'm going to do is just take a little bit of cooking oil. You can use whatever you like. I'm just going to use a little bit of canola. One, it acts as a binder, and two, it should help kind of crisp up the skin, kind of browned it up. So, I was debating on which rub to go with, and I think I'm going to go with this Poco Loco from Los Pendejos. They sent me some product out, and I used this in another cook, and it was great. It says it's for pork. It's a really, really good rub. I'm really digging it. And I think I'm just gonna try it on this. I tried it on chicken. It was amazing on chicken. And we're gonna see how it is on pork. Should give us some nice color. The granules in this rub are really thick. They're big. I like that. I think it makes a rub a little more flavorful, taste it more. Anyway, I just personally like it. Again, it's got some really nice color. And on chicken, freaking phenomenal. Love it. Put that down. Get it flipped over. Do the same thing to the other side. Now you can score that fat cap side if you want. I'm not gonna do that today. Just try to keep it as simple as I can. Hit the top of this. This rub smells really, really good. And we're gonna let this sit. I'm gonna get these ribs ready. You guys see me trim up ribs. I'm not sure what rub I'm gonna use on the ribs. I will let you know that once I do. But this is really the star of the show here. I just figured I'll fire up the pit. I might as well throw a little more meat on there. So that's it. We're gonna let this sweat in, and once this is ready, once the ribs are ready, I'll pick back up. I'll take you outside, show you how I have the Weber set up, and we'll get this cook underway. Hey you guys, so that's the pork belly. These are the ribs. I just seasoned these up. And it was already a St. Louis cut. All I did was remove the membrane from the back and that skirt meat from the back. And I hit it with a little bit of oil, just as a binder. And then I dusted the first rub with Harry Sue's chicken rub. This is jailbird chicken. And then I came back and topped it with this all-purpose rub. Both of these are really good. And they actually work really well together on pork. So that's what I have here for the ribs. And then again, this Poco Loco from Los Pendejos is the one on the pork belly. So I can see that's already sweating in. This should start sweating in a bit. While this is going on, we're gonna head outside and I'll show you how I have the Weber fired up. So I'm using my Sloans here. I got my B&B charcoal. I've got pecan wood chunks down at the bottom. And I don't know if you can make it out here, but right there is my tumbleweed starter cube. We're just gonna get that fired up. Let that catch. And then we're gonna get this rack on the grate, and I'll show you what that rack looks like that I was talking about. Let's do that here. So let's let that catch and get this rack on real quick. So this is how I have the Weber Kettle set up. Again, my silencer over here, that fire is going. And this is that top rack that I was talking about. You can see the bottom grate right under here. So what I've done is I'm using my Inkbird thermometer here. And I've got one gauge down here at the bottom for that bottom grate and one on the top grate. Hopefully that will give us an idea of the difference in the temperature as far as the bottom to the top and how off they are. So that's what it looks like. That's how it's you can see that. That's how it's set up. And it may not look like it, but there's actually quite a bit of room under there. You could fit a whole full pack of brisket under there and it not touch that top rack. So I've done it before and it works great. So we're gonna let this catch and then we'll get the meat on. All right, you guys, I got the pork belly on, got the ribs on, fire's going, got the Inkbird in place. And I will tell you right off the bat, the temperature on that top rack and the bottom rack right now are 40 degrees off. Let's see. Well, it's probably not going to read now because I just had the lid off, but let that kind of settle back in and see if I can show you. But it was about 40 degrees off before I opened that lid. Okay, guys, we are right about 2 hours in. This is what the pork belly is looking like. That's what the slow and sear is looking like. See if we can get a picture of these ribs down here. Those are looking good. Those ribs are actually really moist. I was about to spray them, but the fat from this pork belly has been dripping on them, which is basting them, keeping them moist. I like that. And it's not affecting the rub. So I'm just gonna spritz this pork belly. And I just got a 50 mix of apple juice and apple cider vinegar. You can use whatever you like. But you know what, let's go ahead and hit like the ends of this pork rib on both sides. The middle is actually really moist. I don't know, you can make that out right there. You see the drippings from the pork belly falling right on those ribs. So that's kind of taking care of itself. And so far the temp for this has actually been sitting, it's been really interesting. The top rack has been anywhere from 50 to 60 degrees hotter than the bottom rack, which is very interesting. So I'm just gonna turn this around. You can see here, this part was close to the fire. It's kind of getting burned up a little bit, a little darker. So just rotate it, get the lid back on, let it go, and we'll check back in another couple of hours. Hey guys, we are a little over 3 hours in. Just cooked these ribs. As you can see, have taken on some really nice color. Ooh, hot. So that bark is set. We're gonna wrap these ribs, and what I've done is I just put a little bit of apple juice and barbecue sauce. You can use whatever barbecue sauce you like. I'm gonna get these down in here, and I'm gonna repeat the process. I'm gonna spritz the backside here with some apple juice, and then put a little bit more barbecue sauce, wrap them up, get them back on the pit. All right, so I got them spritzed down. I'm using this here, one of my favorite sauces. Just kind of getting the backside, and that's it. I'm gonna wrap them up and get them back on the pit. The pork belly is almost ready to wrap as well, so I'll pick back up once we get to that point. All right, you guys, so here's the pork belly. We're about 3.5 hours in. I think it's got some nice color. We're gonna temp it, see where it's at. So about 177. Yeah, we want to take this to about 200. Yeah, that's on the thinner part there. Try right in the middle. So we still got a little ways to go, but I'm happy with the bark. I'm happy with the color. Now we're going to work on the tenderness. So I'm just going to spritz it with some apple juice. What I was using earlier, the 50-50 mix of apple juice and apple cider vinegar. I'm going to put, I had about a half a stick of butter in my fridge, and I'm going to go ahead and use up. So I'm just going to kind of place that on top and then hit it with a little tiger sauce. I'll show you what that looks like, and then get it back on the pit. That splits down. Again, here's that Just some butter I had in the fridge. I'm just gonna go ahead and use it up. You don't have to do this. I think it definitely helps add some richness and some moisture, but I actually wasn't planning on doing this, but when I opened my fridge earlier, I saw this and thought, why not use it? So I'm gonna go ahead and use it up. It was just half a stick anyway. So next, I'm gonna add some tiger sauce. This tiger sauce is something that goes really good with pork. I like it on my ribs. I've got a little bit left in a bottle, so I'm gonna just go ahead and use it. Now there's still quite a bit of, you know what, let's just pour the whole thing in. There's still quite a bit of fat in here that's gonna render out, and once we unwrap it, you should see more moisture in there. But that's all we're gonna do now. I'm gonna wrap it up, double layer it, and get it back on the pit. Got it wrapped up here. Now you wanna make sure you wrap it tight. You don't want this pork belly to steam, but you do want it to braise in those liquids. So if you do not wrap it tight, you get air in there, that actually will cause more steam, and that's where your bark kind of gets really soft and will start to steam off. So make sure you wrap it up really good, really tight. I think this is good to go. We're gonna get this back on the Weber and check on it in about an hour. All right, so one thing I wanted to touch on, so the ribs are wrapped, the pork belly is wrapped, but the one thing I want to touch on is the difference in the temps on the top grate and the regular grate. This has been really interesting because for the first 2 hours, that top grate was easily, probably on average, 60 degrees hotter than the bottom rack for the first 2 hours. But since then, it's actually evened out, and that top grate and that bottom grate have been within just a few degrees of each other. In fact, the bottom grate has been reading a little higher by about anywhere from 3 to 5, 6 degrees. And I find that really interesting. I would have expected that top rack through the entire cook to stay hotter the entire time, but it has not. I don't know why, just for those first 2 hours. And I'm probably gonna have to experiment with this again and see if that's a regular thing or if it just happens to be, you know, it's the wind has kind of been off and on today. Maybe that's a factor. I don't know. However, I found it really interesting that the top rack was about 60 degrees cooler for the first 2 hours, and then everything kind of toned down and has started to run really smoothly, where, you know, each rack was reading, you know, within, I guess, an average 5 degrees the same. So just want to share that with you guys. We are, I think, a total of about going on 4 hours into this cook. I'm guessing another hour and everything should be done. We'll see. Once the ribs are done, once the pork belly is done, we'll pull it off. I'll show you what that looks like. I'll show you what that looks like. And then we'll get the taste. We'll get the taste testing, which is the best part. Really quickly, one other thing that I wanted to touch on is when I have my vents set, the bottom vents halfway and the top vents set halfway, the Weber Kettle will usually run 265, 275, maybe 280, you know, in that 265 to 280 range. However, today, with the bottom vents set halfway and the top vent set halfway, it's been reading anywhere from 315 to 360. I mean, it's you know, I think it even got up to like 370 at one point on the top rack. I'm gonna guess that that's because it is pretty windy outside today, but some of you might be wondering what the cooking temp has been for this video, for this cook. So that's why I wanted to mention to you, it's been well over 300 the entire cook. It hasn't been under 300, you know, since I started monitoring it. So now it's kind of dropped down. We're about 4 hours into the cook, like I said, and now it's, well, I say drop down, but it's still, you know, 330, 320. So just to kind of give you an idea, again, I'm going to assume that being a windy day is affecting that, because it never reads that high when I'm running the vents that way, halfway open, top and bottom. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that to you in case some of you are wondering what temp I've been cooking at this entire cook. Again, it's been anywhere from 320 to 370, so it's been, you know, a little higher than I was expecting, but everything's looking good. All right, you guys, I don't know if you can make this out, but we're a little over 4 hours in, and we're still at about 304, 306 on both thermometers, or on both levels, the top grade and the bottom grade, so they're pretty much even now. But just wanted to show you that there. Hey guys, these ribs are done. That's what they look like. We got some nice pullback here, all the way down here. These ribs got some great color. So I'm happy with that. And let them rest for just a bit. And then we're gonna cut into them, give them a taste. Look at that. Yum. You guys, these ribs are done. That's what they look like. Only cut up about half the rack. Got some nice, we got a nice smoke ring. Still look moist. Got a nice bark on that. Yeah, buddy. We're gonna give them a taste. Hey guys, so the ribs are done. You got one here. Look at that. Nice color on that bark. Nice smoke ring. This smells so good. Let's give it a taste. Look at that. Right off the bone. That's good. Yeah, buddy. Oh, it's so good. The missus in the background is about to take a bite. What do you think?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. That's that hairy suit rub. His chicken rub along with his all-purpose.
Damn.
That's good, right?
That's so good.
Yeah. A little messy. Damn it, that's good.
The flavor and the smoke, it really brings the two together.
Yeah. Got some great flavor. I'm picking up some spice, but there's not, I didn't add anything spicy.
I don't think it's spicy. This one I
No?
made into isn't spicy.
I don't know, maybe it's just me. But these ribs, 2 thumbs up. They're really good. Again, I season these with Harry Sue's chicken rub and his all-purpose rub. Just spritz it with apple juice, apple cider vinegar. Hit it with some of that Head Country apple habanero. That's it. Pecan wood for the smoke. It's a good rib. Yeah. I'm going to give the rest of these to my neighbor. I think they'll enjoy them. So the pork belly's still on. That's probably has, I don't know, maybe another 30 minutes, hopefully. We'll check the temp here in a bit and see where that's at. But the ribs are good. Yeah. Yeah. You're not supposed to eat the bone.
So good.
Anyway, stay tuned for the pork belly. All right, you guys, this pork belly, I believe, is done. Get a temp here. But 205, 206. It feels soft. 208, 209. Yeah, it's done. So I'm gonna let it rest for just a bit. And then I'm probably just gonna take a couple of slices and taste it instead of making sandwiches, because actually the missus and I are going out to dinner. And quite honestly, I knew that before making this, but I still wanted to cook something, so can't ruin the dinner appetite completely. But I am going to let it rest for just a bit. We'll take some slices and taste this pork belly. All right, you guys, so I got the pork belly here. It's done. It's been resting for a bit, and I'm just gonna, I don't know where to even begin. I think I'm just gonna slice it from here and kind of go this way. We'll see what this looks like. You know, I don't cook pork belly a whole lot, so I hope I'm cutting it the right way. Actually, it kind of looks like the grains might be coming this way, so I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna turn it this way, and we'll just see what the slices look like. Again, I've never done whole pork belly before, so I'm not sure exactly how to cut it, but I'm gonna go against the grain just like I would any other meat. Oh man, look at this. I don't know if you guys can pick this up. Woo, that's hot, 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 hot. Let me show you what this looks like up close, because this thing is moist. Give me a quick second. All right, you guys, this pork belly, man, I hope you can pick that up, how moist it is. Good gosh almighty, look at that. That is moist. And it's really, really hot. Holy cow, it's hot. But it looks so good, look at that. It looks so tender, moist. We're gonna give it a taste. I'm gonna take this piece here. I'm not gonna cut the whole thing up just yet. I'm gonna save some of that, but I'm gonna move that over here. I'm gonna take this piece here. We're gonna cut it up and give it a quick taste test. All right, you guys, I got a piece of the pork belly here that I'm gonna try. The missus behind camera trying it too. And we're gonna give it a taste. There's a lot of fat in here, which is, you know, pork belly is supposed to have some of that fat in there. I don't know, we'll give it a taste. It's definitely tender. Extremely tender.
That's good.
It's good, right? Yeah. I think this in the King's Hawaiian roll will be excellent with some barbecue sauce. But
just by itself.
yeah, just by itself is actually really, really good. You wanna I'll just,
Look at that color.
yeah, let me flip this over and show you what this pork belly looks like sliced. So sliced, this is what what the pork belly looks like. A nice smoke ring, still very moist. If you were to cure this, it would be bacon. Look at that. Look how moist that is. Man, and this is the other, you know, the whole half here that I haven't cut up. There's a lot of moisture in there. To make some sandwiches out of this, on that King's Hawaiian roll, which is a sweet bun. Man, look at that.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah. Too bad we're going to dinner. But look how moist that is. Good gosh. There's a lot of fat in here that's rendered out. But it's still tons of flavor. So, got some more here. Some of these ends were on the, these were the pieces at the end with that nice bark. That's good. Did you like it?
I did. I liked it a lot.
Yeah,
I love the flavor.
It was good. I'm gonna eat some of this.
That's good.
Yum. I think I'm gonna cut this all up. I'm gonna keep a little bit for us. I'm probably gonna give a little bit to the neighbor. Outside of that, I think it was a really, really good cook. The ribs were excellent. That pork belly is good.
It is good. Good job. Good job.
The ribs were excellent. The pork belly is excellent. I can't wait to try some of this on the King's Hawaiian bun. You know, that sweet bun with some barbecue sauce. I think it's going to be phenomenal. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I truly appreciate you guys stopping by and hanging out, watching the video. It truly, truly means the world to me. Thank you guys. I will see you guys next time. Take care.